Oh, poo.
Oh, wait, maybe I did.
It's all, I think I might have stopped it. Hopefully it's going to just continue though.
Okay,
'Cause here we are.
should I check it? Wait a
No,
second.
no, no, no. Let's leave
Oh,
you
no.
going.
Okay.
At least you'll have a coffee.
Okay, goodbye.
Hey, here is your book. Who I Am Makes a Difference. Please tell us a little bit about your beautiful book.
Okay, so the Who I Am Makes a Difference book, which you can get online, and I recommend it, is 23 of the best of the Blue Ribbon stories of the one that you heard already, of the signature story about the boy that did not commit suicide, is in here. All right, so any page that you have that you want to select in here, whether it's for how a boy went home and honored his mother and asked her about her dreams, and she said, I don't have any dreams. And she said, the only dream I have is that for you to grow up and be beautiful. And he said, but Mom, you have a dream of your own too. And how they managed, just over a blue ribbon. You will never, Mr. Gestapo, which was the story of when I spoke at the building industry, and they brought the ribbon, and all these construction men, and this 250 of them were turning to each other and honoring each other, and in tears.
Yeah.
But the Mr. Gestapo story is on here, and it really talks about the person that got me there was coming into this big room, and the security guard would not let her in without a ticket. And she said, but wait a minute, I'm the one that's on the board. I don't need a ticket. And he goes, you have to have a ticket. And he stopped her from coming in, and she brought herself through that. She fought her way through and sat down at the main table, with me and all the leaders. And she was the one that made this possible for me to speak. And she was on the board of the California Building Association. Mm-hmm. And she was just livid. And she said, that he's like Mr. Gestapo. He just stopped me and he wouldn't let me through. And I turned to her and I said, before we leave, you're going to give him a blue ribbon. She goes, I knew you're going to say that. And everybody is honoring each other. Mm-hmm. They told the blue ribbon story about the boy that didn't commit suicide on the stage. The head of the building asked me to come up and lead the blue ribbon ceremony, and everybody had a packet of 3 ribbons, and they turned to each other, and the men were just crying and hugging each other. And then when we left, my friend and I were walking out. I went over to the security guard and I honored him. And he said, I wasn't supposed to be here today. I have to take on 2 and 3 extra jobs. You see, my wife was just killed in an automobile accident, and by an alcoholic, and I have to raise my children. And I didn't know what the requirements were about taking tickets here. They just threw me in and just said, don't let anybody in without a ticket. And I honored him. And he just gave me this biggest hug and said, would you sign your book for me? And I, because they were being sold, and I went over and signed the book and gave it to him as a gift. And then Denise was seeing in the distance, and she saw it. And then I stepped away, and the next thing I saw her in the distance honoring him and giving him a big hug. Oh. And by the way, I just absolutely opened this to that Gestapo story just now. I never knew where I would go. Yeah. And as she walked out hand in hand with me in big tears, and she said, I didn't know what happened with his wife. I didn't know. I said, nobody knows anybody until you love them. Mm-hmm. So when you read this story, and I have one more story in here that I think is really important. May I do that?
Of course, darling.
Everybody talks about this story. Was in Chicken Soup also for the soul, but it's the Isabel story. Very, very amazing story. Years and years ago, before I started the Blue Ribbon, I'm going through my own, disaster in my husband and I, and I'm on a bench in La Jolla, La Jolla, overlooking this beautiful town. It's like a small Beverly Hills, mm-hmm. And big park overlooking the ocean. And I'm sitting in a bench, and in the distance, closer to the ocean, and sitting in a bench is this old lady. She kind of had her shoulders kind of slumped over. She had a beaked nose. She was I noticed her at a distance, and she just seemed so lonely. And I don't know what pulled me to her, but I came over to the bench and I sat on the other side of the bench, and we were both just looking at the ocean in silence. And I said, still facing the ocean, if we never saw each other again, what would you want me to know about who you really are? It came right through me. And there was this long pause, and she said, nobody's ever cared. And I said, I care.
Oh.
And she said, I always wanted to be a ballerina, but my mom told me I was too clumsy. I couldn't be a dancer. So ever since I was a little girl, I practiced my ballerina dance in the closet. And I said, her name was Isabel. And I said, Isabel, dance for me, dance for me. And she got up. If you ever saw an old person turn into a swan, she turned her back to the ocean, so she was facing me. It was just her and I. She held her body up beautifully. Her shoulders went back. She pointed her right foot forward, little toe forward, and her hand forward, just, you know, like a ballerina would do. And then she put her hands both to the side, and then she curtsied. That was her dance. That was Isabel's dance. And she sat down, and Isabel, turns out she was a librarian and had all this knowledge in the world that she just poured into me. And I remember leaving, and I didn't know exactly what had happened, but I saw somebody transform because I took a moment to ask. Later, that turned into the Blue Ribbon.
Wow. Wow. Chills, top to toe chills. You know, it's just so beautiful. You speak to the soul of humanity. You speak to the soul of kindness and benevolence and giving a moment to someone, because everyone attacks. I mean, there's so much attacking going on. There's so much triggering. You know, some of you watching this will have heard Sparky mention a name some time ago. And you'll be triggered by that name, and we're not going to discuss it here. It's outside gossip. You know, nobody has proof of anything. I encourage you to see, because what people are doing, Sparky, in my opinion, what I'm seeing, you know, en masse, is they've heard something and they can only go so far because they've heard this thing. Now they have to turn away and keep going. They're not stepping back and viewing the bigger picture to allow themselves more information, more training, more access to love on every level. They're going, right, I'm done, I'm subscribed, moving along. And, you know, they're standing up for something they don't know everything, you know, about.
Yes, I will say it the same way as you, and I'll say it quite a little bit differently if I can. I will say this, that if you're a car and you can't go where it gets fueled up and get your car with gas in it, whatever price it might be today, you have no gas inside of you. You're going to go in a reptilian part of your brain. You're going to be in fear or flee, or you're going to do everything. You're going to be just shut out. Somebody could tell you all of the magical things in the world to elevate your consciousness, and you may not be able to hear it. You've got to be in a very safe place where you're not pointed at what you're not doing right. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it very strongly to everybody. There's nothing wrong with you or anybody else I ever read that I honored somebody with. And I don't focus on all the stuff that we don't know how to do. I focus on what we can do. And I want to acknowledge you, because the thing is, we all know what doesn't work in the world. I mean, let me tell you, we're going to just, you know, keep talking about that till we drown ourselves in it. However, who's talking about what you do right? And I am that curtsy, if you will. I am the space in which you can do that for others and yourself, because we don't know how to fill our own fuel up. I don't. I keep learning every day. I get coached every day up to the next greatness. 60 seconds or less to end bullying. That line only came to me a month ago. For goodness sake, I've been doing this for 40 years. Of course, we talk about ending bullying, and we stop crime and violence. We empower dreams. We increase academic excellence. I know all what that ribbon ceremony does, because it's the fuel that says, oh, my worst enemy at the school walked over to me and apologized and told me he was sorry for beating me up. And that, oh, this is a story. You all listen to this, because just note that lights on when you're in a room, put the light on with a little switch. Lights on, lights off, yes?
Mhm.
It's as quick as that. It's another story in the book, but Josh was the biggest bully in his school, beat up everybody. He was only in school 20% of the time. But when he was in school, he was very, very angry. And I did the Blue Ribbon Week there at his school. It was a middle school. And his counselor thought it would be a good idea if he was being selected for this training I was doing with 2 kids from every classroom for the whole school. So I want you to stay with me on this, because it's an important moment in time, and I'll tell in about 3 minutes the story. Josh came into the room with 100 student leaders, 2 from every classroom. He didn't know anybody. He sat in the back, the last row. I didn't know who the kids were. I just kept telling about how they can honor each other and see the best in each other. And then I put my hand up, I said, who has a dream? And Josh, as it goes, his hand just raised in the back. He said he can't remember that he did that. I said, come on up to the front. So he comes up to the front. Very good looking boy, by the way. He's about 5'9", 5'10", good solid boy. And so he says, I said, what's your dream? He said, to get along with kids my own age. And one boy yells out, you're the biggest jerk in the whole school. And I said, well, okay, we'll check that out. And then a bell rang for lunch, and we had a break, and we're going to come back. And I sat with Josh and I said, tell me about your life. He said, my mom is a methamphetamine. She's an addict. She lives under the freeway in a tent. I dumpster dive to find food for her. I only have 1 set of clothes, 1 pair of shoes. I have nothing. I'm homeless. And all the kids in my school, well, they've got families and they've got everybody. And I've got nothing. I'm angry. And I said, okay, would you come back and tell everybody that? And he did. Here's the story about Josh. That afternoon, after I train everybody, next day, the 2 kids from every class are going to teach everybody how to honor each other and talk about each other's dreams as a part of the whole Blue Ribbon Week. And when I get to the school, I'm going to check into the classrooms to see how they're doing. And the counselor, Paula Diaz, comes up to me and says, did you hear what happened with Kyle and Josh yesterday? And I said, no, what do you mean? She said, well, Josh went over to Kyle's house, knocked on the door, and Kyle was afraid he was going to beat him up. And Josh says, instead of beating you up, why don't we just sit outside under your tree and talk about our dreams?
Mm.
And after that whole conversation went through the entire school. Josh decided to help all his teachers after school, and he was named 30 days later as he won the Above and Beyond Award for the city of San Diego for what he did. He transformed his whole school just because he did that. And he wound up later going on. I got him adopted by my friends, and he lived out his high school. I just went to his wedding 4 months ago. He's 28 years old now.
You're so beautiful, Sparky Pants. You've helped so many people. You love so hard. Sorry for crying. Not really. It's just so easy, isn't it, to criticize someone and not know what pain they're in. And it's so easy for, like you say, Kyle and Josh. And I was trying to figure out if I remembered that, because I did training with you. I was like volunteer for you when you were training all the children and we went to the roughest, hardest schools in Oceanside, didn't we?
Yes.
And they all loved you, and you were hilarious. This little tiny woman coming in the room, and these kids who were out of control and rebellious. And you're like, okay. And everyone's like, Grandma Sparky's in the room. Like, let's all pay attention. And, there was nothing you couldn't handle. And it is, everyone assumes that, an elder in the community couldn't possibly know what pain, suffering, agony, and bullying to oneself is like. And of course you've lived that, and you're able to stand in this legacy that you've created, you know, to connect with everybody. Well, that really got me, that story. I can't just, the children out there, obviously it breaks us all. That's why, you know, you've been in service to kids and teens as I have, you know, for so many years. But the thought of a child looking at all the other kids in school and having a mother living under the bridge, and he's trying to find half-eaten food in garbage can. It's just so heartbreaking. There's so many, it's such a crime. Nobody should be living like that, you know. So we all need to be kinder and more loving, you know. And people, again, the science behind the ribbon, the blue ribbon that says who I am makes a difference. It's incredible.
Yes, let me just speak to the science of this. The blue ribbon was created, it's a 7-step ceremony. For all of you to know the science behind it, okay? Because one is, when you have ribbons, by the way, I'm inviting you, if you want to order 1,000 ribbons, just do that for your schools or whatever. Just do, you know, I'm inviting you to just consider that you could do this, and I'll help you. But this 7-step ceremony, 35,000 people were honored with this. When I first started, for 3 months, 35,000 people, you couldn't quit it. Everybody wanted a ribbon. Now, my small team of 12 people, which were kids and adults and grandparents and a business person, they came to my house and told me the stories of who they honored and the difference it made. And we all sat around. I said, what worked and what didn't? And they said, everybody's trying to get somebody to get what they're talking about. So what works is that when you say, I have a blue ribbon, it means first prize. The ribbon says who I am makes a difference, so I'm honoring myself first. It's cut on an angle like an airplane that you're lifting people up. It's got the bing in it, but it asks permission. It doesn't say, hey, here's my business card, and this is what I do, and kind of ram it at people. It says, I have a blue ribbon, and it says who I am makes a difference, and I want to honor you. And so all of a sudden, whatever comes through your heart, they need to hear, and you didn't have to figure it out. If you try to figure it out, it's not figure outable. Just, oh, I just like the way your eyes look, or I like the way you dress, or I see that you're holding your children's hand, or you're working so hard at something. And then, would you accept my gift? That is very important. I said, I learned not to just smash that sucker on people just because I thought it was a good idea. I got that people just slap me away like a fly. Get away from me, you crazy lady. Okay, it's true. It's true. They were just so mad at me. It was, oh, who do you think you are? And I said, would you accept my gift? And if they say yes, may I have permission to place it on you? I do not move that ribbon. I do not move into them too close. I am, you know, it gives space to people. And may I have permission to place it on you? Yes. If so, I say I place it above your heart. Now, very few people ever get touched with love, ever. The minute I say heart, the heart tells the mind what to do, so says heart math, the science of the heart and the mind. Your heart will tell your mind what to do. When you say, I place it above your heart, all of a sudden, for those that know the chakra system, the chakras all align. White light comes around. It was been filmed in Brilliant photography, what happens after the acknowledgement of the love, and say, and it's tradition for me to take the spark from my heart. So I put my hand to my heart, and in the ribbon is cheerleaders. They're right in here. I always wanted to be a cheerleader in high school, but I couldn't jump. I was athletic, but I somehow couldn't jump. So I was a pom-pom girl. And but I put the ribbon, the cheerleaders in this ribbon, in a community of cheerleaders jumping for your dreams. And I say, I'll take the spark from my heart and put it in the ribbon. It's a sound that makes dreams come true. And the sound is bing, bing. And people laugh, and laughter is the best medicine. So that neurolinguistic programming, it just, when you do the science and you break down the ingredient of this ribbon and this ceremony, and there's probably 100 more elements in it, what you'll discover is you're discovering who you are. You're taking bigger risks. You're building relationships with people in 60 seconds or less. there's a bonding factor. You're starting to talk about what you both do that can matter and make a difference for the world, for whatever. And people always have a connection, because if they feel loved, they will find somebody to help. And you give them 2 extra ribbons and you ask for no money for that. They have never had that experience. You mean, what do I want? Do you want money? If you want to give it to the charity. But I bought these ribbons so I could tell people everywhere how much they matter to me. My clerk in the store, my dentist, my doctor, my children. The transformation is huge.
It's huge. It's huge. And again, we encourage anyone who would like to have Sparky come and speak in their school and encourage all the children, the teenagers and the little ones, and teach the teachers and have the teachers have their own. I mean, this is your life's work, and the plan is to continue to touch at least 1 billion individual souls on our planet.
Yes, and I'll just end by saying the musical on Broadway, we've been in its 4th table rating. It's been written by 7 teenagers and myself with the help of others, so that we can have a musical on Broadway. And at my home about 3 or 4 years ago, I had a bunch of adults and friends and colleagues of mine, and there to do the table reading. Each one, we have 33 characters, and we read them all, and it was priceless. Everybody agreed that that this musical is extraordinary for kids and adults and for the transformation. And I said, but I don't know the title of the musical. And LeGrand Green, the former executive producer of the Oprah show, was there because of one person I met at Kay's, Valerie. And I called her up, I said, Valerie, I said, is LeGrand Green, could he be in town? And she said, as a matter of fact, I think he's coming to San Diego. I said, I need him to listen to the musical. And he happened to pop in. It's a miracle kind of thing. And he pops in. And at the end, I said, I don't know what the title of it is. And he said, well, the title, Sparky, is Bing, the Sound of a Billion Dreams.
Yeah.
And everybody dropped the mic and everybody hugged. And that's how we got the title. So
I love it. I love it. And I love you, Sparky, Grandma Sparky, the great Helise Bridges. I'm going to put all of your information underneath our broadcast here. Did you include your TED Talk? If not, I'll try and include your TED Talk also.
I did not. It's on, if you go to the videos section of blueribbons.org, I'll go to the videos, you'll see the most recent video, which is 50 million plus, that is being sent out to the mayors and so forth. You please, it's a 1.5 minute one or a 7 minute one. You could use either one. That you could share that and watch my TED Talk, my TEDx talk, and my book. Oh, this is what I want to say. Okay, 2 things. This is my children's book, and it's called. This is just one of the pictures in it. It's a true story of when a little angel came to me when I was 4 years old and landed on my heart. And she said she'd been traveling around the world for 2,000 years looking for children who would bring happiness to the world. Would I help? And I said in my dream, I said, I'll help. And so she put a magic wand around me with magic gold dust and said, from now on, every time you smile, sick people will be happy, sad people will get well, and angry people won't hurt themselves or anybody else anymore, and there'll be no more war. And she flew out. And this is the beginning of that story, Sparky and the Magic Blue Ribbon.
That's so beautiful. So the illustration, who did the illustrations, can you say?
Okay, this illustration is by Sergio. I'm happy to share that information. My co-author with this is Lynn Sanders. She is also, she leads the Chicago Blue Ribbon. She's the 3rd Blue Ribbon city in the world. And she is a graduate of Standing Strong Together, and she's a children's book author. And so we've been writing this for about 7 months now. It is now finished. And she has, Sergio is the person that she selected for the children's artist. And I'm happy to give you that information to share with anybody, because he is a master. He's a masterpiece. And This is just a sketch, by the way. I just needed him to have a sketch to give to my board. And
So beautiful.
yeah.
So beautiful.
So those are the kinds of things. And I send you a copy of my new book that I'm working on now, which is called Flat World, Round World, Out of This World: The Bridge to Healing Our Planet.
I love it.
And
I love it.
so that's the conglomeration of Sparky's life right now.
And again, you know, you're so young, you're 80 years young. And to those people out there that think, oh, I'm in my 60s, in my 70s, oh, be quiet. You know, oh, I can't do anything. I can't fulfill my dream. I'm too old for this. What's a lot of rotten nonsense you're talking? Look at Sparky here. Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
So here's what I'm going to inspire, is it's scary stuff. To go and really do your dream and have people tell you you can't do it, because you're surrounded by people that have probably told you all your life that just when you try to do something great, that you're, now I've seen it all. The best people in the world that really persevere are people that have to be surrounded by great people like you and I, and people that understand and take these kind of personal development courses. I'm telling you, you know, just listen more, because there's environments where you can get loved and supported up to your greatness, and you need to hang around great people that will empower you and support you at any age. If you're 2 years old or 102, we all need that, and just you need the fuel. So yeah, whatever age you are, the mindset will say, yeah, but, and I can't, and I've heard this all the time. And then I come in and I am your empowerment machinery. I won't let you, if you have a dream, I will empower you, I will coach you, I will push you. And you're going to have a breakthrough, and that's exciting, because all of a sudden you didn't realize you could do that. I love that part of my job, whether it's for children or adults or Bloods and the Crips, Arabs and the Jews. It doesn't make any difference where I'm at. I just want to just say love works, and I'm too smart to let you get slippery.
You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Thank you so much. Elise Bridges, Grandma Sparky, and my private name for you is My Little Sparky Pants, because that's what
Sparky
you are.
Pants. I love
Sparky
that.
Pants.
Thank you.
All right, darling. Well, to you guys out there, thank you so much for watching. And I'm sure you're going to feel inspired and overjoyed to be introduced, to those of you that don't know her, to Grandma Sparky. You can see that beautiful smiling face. This lady has so much energy. I can't even keep up with her. We even played basketball together, and you shot a hoop.
That's right. And I get it in. And you took the video of it?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I did. And you're like, your turn. I'm like, no, you're all right. You shot that. You didn't think you could, but you did.
From the behind the shot line. What do you call it? The false?
I don't know. I don't know what it's
yeah,
called.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But you're right. That you brought the basketball over, or we found it or something.
Yeah. And
we said, let's play basketball on the court. And I said, oh, I didn't know we had a court here. And all of a sudden I just threw it up and it went right in. I went.
It feels good. It feels good. Oh my goodness. Okay, so to the audience watching, Elise Bridges, Sparky, Grandma Sparky. She's here for you guys. Such a legacy and a body of work. And again, you, no matter how old you are, you could buy some ribbons, some blue ribbons, and start giving them out, or buy them for a school, or do a presentation on them, or invite Sparky to come and speak at your school, your college, your university, or your place of work. Until we meet again, Sparky, I love you so much. Hold on there for me. And to you guys out there, I definitely send you my love, and I will see you soon.